Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to be diving deep into something really important, especially with spring coming up here in India,
Definitely.
managing asthma during the season and also during
Oh,
the celebrations of Holi.
it's a fun time, but tricky for asthma,
Definitely tricky. We're really lucky to be part of the Asthma Friend community,
for sure.
and they put out a couple articles that we're going to be looking at today.
Two really good articles.
Yeah, they really help us understand more than just like do's and don'ts.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just about what to do,
Right.
it's about the why.
Exactly.
And I think that's really important.
So the first article we're looking at dives right into the Holi hazards,
Okay.
and it lists synthetic colors, gulal powder, the smoke from the Holika Dahan, and of course dust.
Right, and all that's on top of the regular spring pollen.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
So how do those things affect your airways differently?
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
Like all those tiny color particles, they can irritate and inflame your airways, which makes it harder to breathe.
Oh, wow.
And then on top of that, you've got the smoke, which just adds another layer of irritation.
Right.
So, because I'm a double whammy.
And then there's all the pollen.
Oh, yeah, don't forget about the pollen.
It's like a perfect storm. The article specifically mentions neem mango and gulmohar pollen.
And those are everywhere in India this time of year.
Yeah, I know. I never really realized that neem pollen could be a problem.
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
It's such a common tree here.
It is, but that pollen can be a real trigger for people with asthma.
How so?
Well, it causes inflammation in the airways, just like those colors and smoke we talked about.
Oh, okay.
Makes it harder to breathe and can even trigger an asthma attack for some.
So all this stuff combined is what makes Holi so tricky.
It is, but the good news is there are things you can do to minimize your risk.
Okay, good. So the article talks about some pre-Holi precautions.
Right, being prepared is key.
What stood out to you?
I mean, the switch to natural or organic colors is huge.
For sure.
Like, it's such a simple swap,
Yeah.
but can make a big difference. And obviously, a good N95 mask is crucial.
Oh, yeah. To filter out all those particles.
Exactly. Those tiny particles are the worst.
Definitely.
So you want to make sure you have a good mask.
They also mentioned moisturizing your skin and hair is a barrier.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
It's not something I thought about before.
Me neither.
And then there are all the basics, too, like taking your regular meds and having your rescue inhaler handy.
Oh, absolutely. Those are non-negotiables.
Yeah, you don't want to leave home without those.
Especially during Holi's.
Exactly. Anything else you'd add to that?
I'd say invest in a good quality Mac.
Okay.
You know, there are some brands specifically designed for conditions here in India.
That's a good point.
Don't just grab any old mask.
Right, and do some research on those organic colors.
Yeah.
You might be surprised.
There are so many great options now.
They're not just dull anymore.
Not at all.
What about everyone listening? What are your go-to strategies for minimizing exposure during Holi's? Let us know.
Yeah, share your tips. That's what makes the Asthma Friend community so great.
Exactly. We can all learn from each other.
Totally.
Now, I was relieved to see that the article doesn't just say no Holi.
Yeah, that would be a bummer.
They actually suggest having a dry Holi celebration.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So you can still enjoy the festivities, but without all the colors.
Exactly. You still have the music and the dancing and the food,
All right.
all the fun stuff without putting your health at risk.
Yeah, and they also suggest choosing your location carefully,
That's smart.
like celebrating indoors or looking for events specifically for people with asthma.
Oh, yeah. I bet those exist.
I think so.
There are definitely communities and organizations that understand the needs of asthmatics.
Right.
They want everyone to be able to celebrate safely.
So it's not about avoiding Holi altogether.
Right.
It's about making informed choices.
Exactly. And minimizing risks.
And then, after all the festivities are over, post-Holi care is important too.
Oh, for sure.
The article recommends showering right away, rinsing your eyes and nose thoroughly, and changing into clean clothes.
That's all super important.
Yeah, it sounds simple enough,
It is.
but it's easy to forget in all the excitement.
So true. But remember, the goal is to remove any lingering irritants as quickly as possible.
Okay,
That's how you prevent prolonged inflammation.
so we've tackled the Holi hurdle,
We did it.
but then looming right behind it
Oh.
is spring,
Oh, yeah, spring.
the whole season.
That's when those holy triggers really stick around.
Oh, that's true. So it's not like we could just relax after Holi.
Nope. Gotta stay vigilant.
All those triggers, the dust, the pollen, even the smoke, sometimes it's all still out there.
Exactly. So that vigilance we talked about for Holi,
Yeah,
we need to carry that forward through the whole spring season.
that's a really good point.
Got to stay proactive and inform about those spring challenges.
Okay, so that's where this second article from Asthma Friend comes in.
Perfect timing.
It's all about spring allergies and asthma here in India.
And it's full of good tips for getting through the season.
It is. One thing they recommend is checking pollen levels every day.
Oh, that's so important.
I don't always do it.
I know, it's easy to forget.
But the article really emphasizes how important it is, especially when those pollen counts are high.
For sure. And on those high pollen days, you want to try to keep your windows closed as much as possible.
Okay.
It really helps to minimize exposure.
And wearing a mask outdoors when the pollen count is high.
Absolutely. Just like during Holi's.
It's not just for Holi's.
Nope. And again, we're talking talking good quality masks here.
Right.
Not just any old flimsy cloth.
They also mention showering and changing your clothes after you've been outside.
Another good one?
Yeah, it helps to get rid of any pollen that's stuck to you.
Exactly. You don't want to bring those allergens inside.
I never used to think about pollen sticking to clothes.
I know, me either.
But it makes sense.
It really does.
And of course, the foundation of all this is keeping up with your regular medication.
Absolutely. Can't stress that enough. Whatever your doctor has prescribed for you.
Got to stick to the plan.
Definitely. Now, all this good general advice, but
Yeah.
I'm curious for those listening.
Okay.
Have you noticed any specific spring triggers that bother you more than others?
That's a good question.
For me, it's those bluing mango trees.
Oh, the pollen.
Yeah, it hits me hard.
I can see why.
So what about you guys? Any particular triggers you've noticed?
It's so important to know your own personal triggers.
It really is key to managing asthma effectively.
Definitely. And sometimes those triggers aren't so obvious.
That's true.
So beyond those personal habits, the article also talks about getting your home ready to spring,
Oh, yeah, I love this part.
creating a safe haven.
Exactly, a place where you can just breathe easy.
And it all starts with a good deep clean.
Oh, absolutely. Get rid of dust wipe down surfaces, vacuum thoroughly.
Makes sense.
It's amazing how much stuff accumulates over the winter.
They also mentioned checking for mold.
Oh, yeah, mold is a sneaky one.
I admit I don't always think about it.
Mold can be a big trigger, though.
Right.
So you got to make sure you've got good ventilation in damp areas like the bathroom and kitchen.
Okay.
Prevents mold from getting a foothold.
And of course, replacing air filters.
Got to get rid of those old filters.
Out with the old.
And in with the new.
Exactly. The article even suggests getting a HEPA filter.
Oh, those are great.
They're really good at trapping those tiny allergens.
So much better than regular filters.
There's so much good advice in this article. It's not just about surviving spring.
I know it's about thriving.
Exactly. It's about taking control and managing your asthma so you can enjoy the season.
Exactly. It's all about making those informed choices.
Right, and realizing that we do have some control over our environment
Definitely. You're not powerless.
and how it affects our asthma.
You can make a difference.
Exactly. I feel empowered just reading this article.
Me too. It gives you hope. It really is amazing what a few simple changes can do
I know, right?
for your health.
Yeah, it makes you realize we actually have some control
We do.
over our environment and how it affects our asthma.
Speaking of control, I was really interested by that part of the article that talked about saline rinses
Oh, yeah.
or neti pots.
Yeah.
They recommend those for managing nasal congestion.
I've heard of those.
Have you ever saw one?
Actually, yeah. I started using a saline rinse last spring,
Oh, wow.
and I was surprised by how much it helped with my congestion.
Really?
Yeah, it felt like it was gently cleansing my nose.
That's exactly what it does.
Taking all that pollen and stuff out.
It flushes out those allergens that are irritating your nasal passages.
Oh, okay.
So it soothes that inflammation and helps you breathe easier.
It's such a simple solution.
I know, right?
I wish I'd known about it sooner.
Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best.
Definitely.
And it's drug-free, which is always a plus.
That's true.
The article also mentioned something called allergy immunotherapy.
Oh, yeah, that sounds intense.
It can be,
Can you explain what that is?
sure, so it's sometimes called allergy shots.
Okay.
And it's a long-term treatment that basically retrains your immune system.
To be less reactive to allergens.
Exactly. So instead of just masking the symptoms,
Right.
you're actually getting to the root of the problem.
Wow.
And it takes time.
Okay.
It's a gradual process, but over time, immunotherapy can really reduce your sensitivity to specific allergens.
So you have fewer symptoms.
Exactly. And you might not need as much medication.
That's amazing. It's like giving your immune system a total reset.
That's a good way to put it.
So it's important to remember that there are a lot of different ways to manage asthma and allergies.
Definitely what works for one person might not work for another.
That's true.
That's why it's so important to work with your doctor.
To find the right treatment for you.
Exactly. Personalized care is key.
And that's another reason why being part of a community like Asthma Friend is so helpful.
Oh, for sure.
It's a place where you can share experiences,
Right.
learn from each other,
Yeah.
and find support.
It's like having a whole team in your corner,
I love that.
cheering you on
Definitely.
and offering guidance along the way.
Speaking of resources, I really love their weekly newsletter.
Me too. It's so good.
It's like a little dose of asthma wisdom.
It is.
Delivered straight to my inbox.
Practical tips, expert insights, and sometimes even inspiring stories from other people with asthma.
Yeah, it's a good reminder that you're not alone.
Exactly. There's a whole community out there.
Facing similar challenges,
Right.
sharing solutions,
Yep.
and supporting each other.
That sense of connection can be so powerful,
It really can.
especially when you're feeling overwhelmed or discouraged.
Okay, so we've covered a lot today.
We have
From Holi celebrations to spring allergies,
all sorts of stuff.
precautions, home prep tips, even different treatments.
It's been a really interesting deep dive
It has.
into the world of asthma management here in India.
And as we wrap up, I want to remind everyone that we're here to support you
We are.
as part of the Asthma Friend community.
You don't have to face asthma alone.
We're a community of shared experiences,
We are.
tips and resources,
And we're all dedicated to helping you breathe easier.
and live a fuller life.
Absolutely.
So to stay connected and informed, make sure to subscribe to the Asthma Friend newsletter.
Yes, do it.
You'll get weekly knowledge, inspiration, and practical advice.
Deliver right to your inbox.
We're so excited to have you join us on this journey called Better Breathing.
And a brighter future.
Now, as we come to the end of our deep dive,
Okay.
I have one final thought-provoking question for everyone listening.
All right. Hit us with it.
What's one thing you learned today that you'll actually use
Oh, good question.
in your own life to manage your asthma better?
Yeah. What will you take away from this conversation?
It could be something small like trying a saline rinse.
Or something big like looking into immunotherapy.
We want to hear your takeaways
We do.
and how this conversation has helped you take control of your respiratory health.
Remember, even small changes can make a big difference.
They really can't.
Every step you take towards better breathing is a victory.
It is. So keep breathing easy, everyone.
Stay informed, stay connected, and keep breathing easy.
Wow. It's amazing how much we covered.
I know, right?
We went from like Holi celebrations to spring allergies and back again.
It's all connected.
It is, and it shows how important it is to be proactive about managing asthma all year round.
Definitely not just during certain times.
Right.
It's an ongoing thing.
What really stood out to me was the importance of community.
Oh, me too. Having a support system like Asthma Friend is so important.
Yeah, it makes such a difference.
Knowing you're not alone in this journey.
Exactly. It's like having a whole network of people who understand what you're going through.
People who've been there and done that.
Right.
And they're ready to offer advice or encouragement or just listen.
And the resources they have are amazing.
They really are.
From those articles we talked about to their weekly newsletter.
There's always something new to learn.
Speaking of the newsletter, I have to mention it again.
So
It's a great way to stay up to date on all things asthma.
practical tips, the latest research.
Everything. So if you're listening and you're looking for a supportive community,
Yeah.
evidence-based information, and a sense of empowerment,
Join Asthma Friends.
I can't recommend them enough.
They're a fantastic resource.
Head over to their website, sign up for the newsletter, and connect with others who understand what you're going through.
You won't regret it.
Knowledge is power, and together we can breathe easier.
That's right.
That's it for today's deep dive.
Thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope you found this episode informative, insightful, and empowering.
And remember,
You're not alone on this journey.
stay informed, stay connected, and keep breathing easy.
Check this guy.